Hi everyone, my name is Jimmy Smith. I am a proud member of the Cathedral Prep class of 2011, and I have the pleasure of working here at Prep in our Advancement and Alumni Relations office. Welcome to episode number 101 of the Rambler Podcast, where we are passionate about sharing what makes Cathedral Prep the standard of excellence. I will be your host today for the episode, and we're excited to have Jennifer Park O'Connell join us on as a guest. Jen graduated from Villa Maria Academy in 1992, and she is currently a shareholder in the Employment and Labor Group for the U.S. region of Dentons, one of the largest law firms in the world. In addition to her legal practice, she serves on Dentons' U.S. ESG Advisory Board and is a member of the firm's Oversight and Executive Committee and Governance and Nominating Committee. With nearly 25 years of experience, Jen has built a distinguished career advising and defending global, national, and regional organizations across industries including healthcare, education, aviation, manufacturing, and technology. Throughout her career, Jen has represented institutional clients in complex employment matters, including discrimination litigation, corporate investigations, Title IX and ADA matters, wage and hour disputes, and employment compliance issues. She has led major cases in federal and state courts and has played a key role in high-level investigations and legal strategy for large organizations. In 2020, she also served as co-chair of the Dentons U.S. Pandemic Special Situations Team, helping coordinate legal services across the country during the COVID-19 pandemic. Jen has been recognized as the best lawyers in America for labor and employment litigation and was named one of the Pittsburgh's Business Times 20 People to Know in Law. Beyond her legal work, she is a frequent author and presenter on workplace law, leadership, and employment trends, and she is actively involved in professionalism and community organizations focused on leadership and diversity in the legal profession. We're excited to have Jen join us today to share more about her journey, her career, and the experiences that helped have shaped her along the way. And on a personal note, we want to add too, her proudest accomplishments, as she says, is keeping up with her two middle school sons, Kieran and Declan, who frequently travel for soccer. Jennifer is the unofficial videographer of the soccer teams, which I love to hear. That's so much fun. It makes highlight reels of the games for the team. She is also blessed to be married to her awesome husband and life partner, Liam O'Connell, who has been a true team player when it comes to juggling work and family life, and whose support has been instrumental to her achievement and her goals. So, Jen, how fun. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Jimmy. It's so fun to be here. And thank you for the tour this morning. I very much enjoyed it.
Well, I think that's one of the fun parts of connecting. You know, some of these podcast episodes I do are with people I've known for a while, and some are people I'm meeting for the first time, like yourself. So it's fun to connect and walk through the school, be able to get to know you a little bit, but also show you some of the great things we're doing today.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. And thank you for the intro. You make me sound so much better than I really am. So I appreciate that.
Well, you are doing some amazing things in your work, and I'm excited for the audience and myself to get to know you better since your time at Villa. I'm sure some of your classmates will see this pop up and they'll be excited to listen. And we just ran into one of them too.
I know, we did. Lisa Demjanovic.
Yes.
Yes, I remembered her. I said, you know what? She looks really familiar.
We were doing the tour and we walked into the library and all of a sudden you're like, who is that? And, we pointed her out and you're like, oh my gosh, I graduated with her. And I knew Lisa had graduated from Villa, right, but I didn't put two and two together that she would have been your class year. So, yeah. And she's a teacher here now at Prep, and we asked her, and this is her third year teaching here. So just to show that Prep Villa community and how that works.
Yeah, I mean, it's an indelible part of my history and who I am as a person. So absolutely, I don't forget a face from Villa.
And we have to give your brother a little shout out too. He graduated from Prep?
Correct.
And what year was he?
He was a 1990 grad.
1990.
Yep.
So that's a lot of fun. So you've had connections to Prep and Villa. You mentioned you're like, I think I went to something for him in here because you were a little bit familiar with the building.
Right.
But I really appreciate coming a little bit early so we could walk around the building too.
No, I appreciate the tour.
Yeah, so a lot of good things happening here at the school and even better things in your career that you've been able to go on and accomplish since your time at Villa. And somewhere I always like to kind of start these podcast episodes with is even asking, back to when, you were 13, 14 years old, evaluating what high school, you might want to go to. What maybe led to your decision to want to go to Villa Maria Academy?
Yeah, well, I was a student at Our Lady of Peace and had such a great time there. And like a lot of middle school kids, everybody's wondering where they're going to go to school. And I had a core group of friends that were going to go to Villa. And I had heard great things about the school. They had older siblings that went to Villa, and my brother went to prep. So that was just a natural choice for me. I don't think I even questioned it.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you were there, what did you come to realize as you started? I mean, were there certain either teachers or moments you look back on that made that experience, special for you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I had so many great friends at Villa. The community was incredibly supportive, and the teachers were amazing. We had brilliant teachers. I learned so many things, and some of the things that I learned, like I still think just carry me through this day. I even the typing class, ASDF, JKL Semi, like that was probably the most useful skill that I had learned, and most people should learn and actually don't learn before they leave high school, because I'm on the computer all the time. And even home ec and sewing and certainly, some of the core classes like calc and bio and chem, those were fantastic. My earth science teacher, Sister Martha Ann, was such a huge part of our freshman year at Villa. So I can't name just one experience, but I cherish my time at Villa, and I had just such great memories.
Yeah. I think that's always fun to be able to look back on, your roots, right, where you came from, some of those foundational, things that helped develop us into the people we are today, which of course, Villa and Prep being instrumental for so many of us. When we were walking through the halls, we didn't find him. Maybe we'll try to go back and see. But Mr. Eck, too, yes. Dan Eck, he's a longtime teacher between Villa and now he's here at Prep.
Yes.
We didn't see him yet, but maybe we'll try to go find him.
If we have a Mr. Eck sighting, that's just really going to make my day.
Well, we got to make sure we get it done then.
Lisa D, Mr. Eck, what could be better?
That's right. Oh, that's great. And you're coming on a good day, too, because we have quarter sessions, as I was telling you about. For anybody not familiar with quarter sessions, that's where we celebrate the achievements of our students from the previous academic quarter. So we have the whole school in for an assembly. They receive a certificate for their first or second honors. But it's always a nice chance to celebrate the students, but they were in their full dress uniform today.
Yes.
And you're able to see with the shirts and ties between the men and women here.
I was very impressed. Sharp. They all looked really sharp.
Yes, exactly. Well, one more question for you regarding Villa before we turn to hearing more about your professional journey and your career. But, when you reflect on your time at Villa and, what you've been able to achieve in your career, how do you think that Villa helped play a role to help prepare you for your life and your career?
I think that Villa was so fantastic for preparing young women to go out in the world and accomplish anything that they wanted to achieve. It was just a microcosm of the world, I think, that I wanted to see reflected in, the broader life that I think I was wanting to lead, which is I want to have goals. I want to be able to go out and achieve them. And all of the teachers there, all of the friends, all of the administration really helped support the young women. And for someone like me who was pretty shy when I was young, opening up and being able to be myself and being appreciated and respected for the person that I was really was so important in shaping who I am today. The values that I learned at Villa of compassion, care, and respect for one another, and to have faith in the Lord, I just really think that was so important.
Yeah. Those key pieces that you're mentioning, especially the core values. You know, we can go get an education, not quite to the same standard as Prep or Villa, but there's other schools that offer that. But those core values, the faith component, those things are what really make it a special place for kids to be able to, through those adolescent years, to be able to learn and grow and be ready for that next stage of life, which, you know, college and adulthood, there's a lot in the world, and those core values are something we can always, you know, root ourselves in.
Absolutely. I think it's so important. I think it doesn't leave you. The person that I am today, and I just turned 52 last week, which I can't even believe, but that went fast, but I feel like I'm still like the same person on the inside that I was when I was in high school in many ways. So I attribute a lot of that to what I learned at Villa and the people that I came across.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing too to be able to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So as you transitioned out of Villa, can you maybe, of course I read your bio and some of the achievements, but can you maybe share with us, as you know, the listeners of this podcast episode, a little bit about your journey? You know, how did you get started in pursuing a career in law? Where did you go after Villa?
Okay, so after Villa, I went to a private college called Wellesley. I continued my journey in single-sex education, I guess, because I had really just a fantastic built-in sorority or sisterhood at Villa, and I appreciated, loved it so much, and I was very focused on achieving my goals and being in a supportive environment to do that. So I went there and I majored in econ and German literature, and I think I had always kind of wanted to go to law school. I'm not really sure why, and sometimes I think, why did I do that? I'm not sure if I necessarily made like the best decision regarding that, but you know, here I am today. But I went to Wellesley, and then from Wellesley I consulted for a couple of years in Boston, and you know, took my LSATs, and then headed to Georgetown Law because I was hoping to combine my econ and German background and maybe pursue an international law career, and they had a pretty good program. And after that, I wanted to get an internship, and my best friend from Villa said, "Hey, have you thought about Pittsburgh?" And I said, you know, I think that's a great idea, because I wanted to return to the Western PA area, so got a couple of internships and ended up establishing roots in Pittsburgh, and worked at a couple law firms, but I've been at my current law firm, which was Legacy, Cohen and Grigsby, for a combined total of, I want to say, 25 years now, which is just crazy to me. I'm probably going to end my career there, or I hope so, unless unless somebody tells me differently, you know.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing to hear it wasn't necessarily law that you initially were thinking you would pursue. It sort of developed, sounds like, over a few year period of, you know, deciding what it was long term. As you reflect on that and your move to Pittsburgh, what was it about law that maybe captivated you, that was like, oh yeah, this is what I do want to do for my career?
I think it was the fact that the law actually provides a platform for one to do any number of things. I mean, there are lawyers who are just not even lawyers yet, but you learn the foundational aspects of reading, interpreting contracts, negotiating, dealing with adversity, actually handling disputes. And most of all, it's like you got to have a drive to serve. And I really wanted to serve companies and help them figure out, you know, dilemmas that they had, or help them find creative solutions to a problem, or work out disputes with employees. So this was one of those natural fits, I think, for me, is to be in a service industry and to learn. I never get bored. And I was always afraid that I'd get a job and I'd get bored, but I just meet so many different people, and served so many different industries that it was impossible to get bored. And so I think it just, it worked out well.
Yeah, that's interesting. To hear the service heart, that you have and that ability to apply it within this field of law. And it makes a lot of sense. I've heard from other lawyers too, not describe it that way, but just reflecting on your answer there, I can hear that service, mentality coming through from friends that I have that also are in the law. Just that pursuit of doing good by their client and trying ultimately to help serve them the best they can. So that makes a lot of sense, and I can see where that comes from. Yeah. So it's not like the TV show Suits?
You know what? It's so funny. I think I don't know. I just, I never watched legal shows. Nobody I know dresses like that, like to the nines when they go to like the firm. Sometimes I wear, well, actually most of the times I wear jeans to work, and we don't take ourselves nearly as seriously as the lawyers on TV do. I mean, we take our clients and the work that we do very seriously, but at Dentons, like the folks that I've been working with, and I've been working with a few of them for like onwards of 2 decades.
Yeah.
We don't take ourselves seriously.
Yeah.
And so that just makes the workplace a lot of fun. Yeah. So it's nothing like the show.
Nothing like the show, but it's good writing and acting, and it keeps me interested in it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I watch The Pit, and I'm sure that no doctor watches The Pit. I don't know. Yeah. So maybe they do, but I don't think so.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning, roughly, 25 years now, you've been, practicing and working in this field. It's kind of a big question to ask, but, take it as you wish. How have you really seen workplace and employment law, that landscape change, through your career from what you've been able to experience?
Yeah, well, initially I actually started off as a commercial litigator. So we had represented corporate clients in commercial disputes with other companies, and then I started specializing. But the practice of litigation has changed dramatically. As a young associate, you would sometimes go through boxes of actual hard copy documents to look for evidence. Evidence that might be helpful for your case, certainly evidence that might not be so helpful for your case, but you were actually going through boxes of documents. They might send you to a warehouse, and then they started coming up with software platforms where they would then PDF, like scan and PDF, a mountain of documents. And so the technology just made the rapidity and the pace of everything so much faster, while at the same time making things a lot more efficient and cost effective for the clients. Another thing that happened was everybody's got an iPhone now, right?
Yeah.
BlackBerries first came out when I started practicing. And I remember one of the partners at the firm that I was working at, when an associate asked, should we get one of these? He said, nah, it's just a passing trend. Nobody's going to use these in a few years. Goodness. And now everybody's like so connected. And so the technology, while it's made things so much more rapid and efficient and has allowed us to work remotely, in some ways has made things very challenging, because the pace of what's expected as far as response rate has been amped up to such a degree that you're constantly looking for that email and responding just to make sure that you didn't miss anything. Yeah. So we've got a balance with technology, and now especially with AI entering into the mix. I just attended an EEOC seminar with Andrea Lucas and some presenters, and she's the head of the EEOC now, and she was talking about AI and making sure that humans were not being impacted as far as hiring, selection, retention from AI. And that is a concept that is sort of unheard of, right? Yeah. Until now.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's rapidly changing. The technology has been wonderful, and we adapt. Yeah. And we adapt and we grow. And hopefully we can do things more cost efficiently for the clients.
Yeah, you brought up a whole bunch of things there that's really interesting to dive deeper in, between technology as a platform and how it can help serve, the type of work you're doing with research, development, all those different things. You also hit on the management of your clients' expectations of return, or like responses to them, and being able to get answers quickly. I'm sure, depending on where you're at in the pecking order for certain people listening, who's demanding answers, whether it's your client or your boss or whatever else.
Right.
It's almost this culture that I've even experienced of just the expected return of productivity on a project is just 10x from what it used to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking for 25 years of experience, but even just in my short career so far, it's vastly different.
Yeah.
How have you learned to manage those things, and what advice maybe would you give for listeners about that expectation of being driven to really produce at a fast pace while also trying to make sure that it's a quality product you're putting out there in terms of, what's going to be on your, work that you're producing?
Oh, yeah. No, you know what? This is what I'll say, and I'll incorporate a sports analogy because I'm basically living the soccer mom life on the weekends. I don't do it by myself. I have an awesome team. I've got a team of associates, my assistant, we've got paralegals. We work together as a team. And within that team, I solicit opinions, views. Did you catch something that I didn't catch? How can we make this product better? What am I missing here? So we very much function as a team. And so I would say, as far as like a soccer analogy, if you've got a challenging product and you've got a challenging issue that comes up, and maybe it's the opposing team, okay? If they're in a litigation context, it's the opposing team. And they're aggressive and they're fierce and they're coming at you fast on the field. You need to work together and you need to communicate, and you need to advance that ball down the field.
Yeah.
And you're going to do some blocking and tackling to get that ball into the back of the net, but you're not doing it by yourself. You absolutely must rely on your teammates. Don't over dribble. Yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah. Let's nail on the head, seriously. If any one of us thinks we're just going to conquer the world on our own and do this all on our own, we're either young and naive or just not, living in reality.
Right. You can't do it on your own, nor should you, because, everybody has a role, and I've built my life around having a great team and being a good team player, and I think that's so important.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, too, and I'm glad you brought that up, that the opposite of that also is not just being able to utilize your teammates, but also being a good teammate to those as well, to be the same type of support system for them as you would need for them. It's that synergy is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing you were talking about is the impact of AI, and of course that's a lot of the buzz, around anyone today, between social media to, workplace and tools and technology. Education, of course, for us is something we're evaluating with AI, all the time. But I guess, you were talking about the significance of it as it's really a lot of the unknown right now on a lot of different, spots. Has there really even been official court rulings and stuff on AI and workplace stuff that you don't have to go into specifics of them, but things that you've seen even start to be tossed around yet? Or are they still sitting in courts waiting to be determined on certain cases?
Well, what I would say is that there have been court rulings. The ones that get the most attention are the cautionary tales. Yeah. So you'll see federal courts put together rules about AI, that if you've used AI, you must disclose that you've used it. Or there have been rulings where, unfortunately, attorneys may have submitted briefs that relied on AI, but the AI wasn't at a level that could interpret appropriately the facts and apply them, and they were just wrong.
Yeah.
And so we cannot rely on AI without acknowledging that there is some aspect of human judgment that is required to oversee the work because it's not perfected. And so at the same time, I would say about AI is that the capabilities are tremendous. You can have an AI software program synthesize an entire database of documents, summarize, and put those facts in chronological sequence very, very rapidly.
Wow.
Very, very rapidly. But, the important thing to remember is human judgment is so important, and they can't come up with the advice or guidance or the recommendation that you personally have to deliver to a client. And so, yes, there are some fantastic things that AI can do in the legal world, but, I don't think it replaces human judgment, legal training, experience, and so you just have to make sure that you're very much involved in the information review, the data that's coming out of any sort of program, and to check it, verify it.
Yeah. Human judgment, very well said. I think as I've played with the tool, used the tool, been able to experience it over the last few years since ChatGPT and these other programs have been launched. You do see I think it's made me better as a professional though too, because I've really challenged myself as being that expert in the field to understand, is this really what I wanted to communicate? Is this how I want this to be presented? I might write the draft, put it in there, ask it to refine it. It's like, is this hitting exactly as I would like it to be? Or vice versa, start something as an idea and a concept, it produces something to me.
Right.
And then you really start to evaluate, it's like, is this really the correct thing? And it's made me, I think, better as I've taken that approach of using the human judgment element as you were describing.
Right. No, I think it definitely can be helpful, very, very helpful, and provide efficiencies, cost efficiencies to clients. And if there's an expectation to build in those efficiencies, we're going to see probably more people rely on it. And I do use ChatGPT in my home life. I just used it. We went to Universal, and it created a really spot-on itinerary for us to hit all of the most high-demand rides at a time where the lines were going to be short.
Right.
And just a few years before that, when we had gone to an amusement park, we had to do the itinerary by hand. And that took hours, even days. Yeah, and this ChatGPT did it in 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, and it was spot on.
That's so fun. So there's the professional application and personal application, which is great.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. We don't use ChatGPT at our firm. Just wanted to let you guys know.
Yeah, just a disclaimer. Yeah, that's me bringing that up for things that I might be doing, not necessarily, Jen here.
For sure.
The other one that's dangerous, and I'll say this and we'll move on, home projects is also dangerous. You can take a picture of something in your house and say, if I wanted to renovate that spot in my wall to be a bookshelf, what could that look like with the white or whatever, my wife might have put in there.
Yeah.
And it will spit back a picture that's pretty spot on for what you're imagining. So it can be dangerous for home projects too. I'm just going to throw that out there.
You know what? It's dangerous because you may like what you see and you might spend more money to
that's
get
exactly
that.
Right.
And ChatGPT did the same thing. I'm on this Facebook page called Home Design on a Dime, and I'll do a screenshot. Somebody will say, "Oh, can somebody show me how to improve my kitchen, or modernize it?" And I was able to change the paint color, change the furniture, and even take the 2 cats in the corner and ChatGPT actually moved the cat.
Oh my gosh.
Per my instructions.
Yeah.
Now that's scary.
That is scary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But it's so neat, and we're at the forefront of it. So it'll be interesting over the next, 3 years where we're going to be talking about it then. You might come back on the podcast and it's a totally different, conversation about AI. So
maybe you'll just have a chat bot version of me.
Me too.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
That's so funny. Well, and I think it's so interesting, as we kind of started on this road of ChatGPT and AI conversation, we were, kind of reflecting on your career and even talking about BlackBerries being something that was, something of the past that kids now who are listening to this episode, what's a BlackBerry?
I know.
And as you continue to just reflect on your career a little bit, kind of getting back to your story, what were maybe some key decisions that you've made during your career that, how do I want to put this? Or opportunities even. So key decisions or opportunities, that's the word I was looking for, that really help kind of shape your path to where you've been able to be in your professional career.
You know what? That's a fantastic question. I think it was an evolution over time. But for any young people who might be listening to the podcast, deciding on, a career path, or I think it's always good to check in with yourself every couple of years and see, is this taking me to where I want to go? Do I like what I'm doing? Am I where I want to be? It's like if you're on a soccer team, like, is this advancing? Is my development advancing in the way that I would like? Are opportunities being created? Are challenges being presented in a manner that I'm experiencing growth? And what I mean by that is, in order to experience growth, things might be difficult, right? The hardest case I ever had was not an easy case. It wasn't, you cut your teeth on the hardest cases, right? Where you're working late nights or you're maybe even staying overnight in the office. And, but wow, the learning experience. And I would just say that checking in with yourself and seeing whether that growth is there and you like what you're doing is so important. And I did that every couple of years. And ultimately I decided that I wanted to focus on employment. So I specialized. So instead of just continuing on my path of being a commercial litigator, I decided to focus on employment litigation, employment advising, counseling, and that ended up being very, very good for me because I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked advising clients on employment-related issues, whether it was a dispute or a complaint or a grievance at work that an employee had raised, how to address that pragmatically, actually how to minimize risk, minimize disputes. I really enjoy that aspect of my job.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of what I'm hearing through this episode as we've been chatting is that you're very intuitive, very a studious person who you like to get to understand something in a full scope of what this means for a specific case or a specific client, and really be a studious person, as you were describing. You never wanted to be bored, in your job. You always wanted to constantly learn.
Yes.
So it makes sense to me hearing your answer about it. It's a progression in terms of those decisions, but it's also a constant evaluation that you reflect back and say, okay, where am I at in my career? Is this where I want to be? What's the next step? Am I on that right path right now, or is there some other decision that I might need to make to lead to that point too?
100%.
Yeah. Well, and it's good for, I think, anybody who's young in their career to hear that, because I think a lot of what, you kind of hear out of high school is you need to know, what major you're going to decide on, for what job you're going to have. And then as you get out of college and you start working, you realize, oh, I did a lot of different things differently than I expected coming out of high school that I thought I was going to do.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. So it is great to hear you talk about that progression aspect of it and the growth that you've been able to experience through your career in that regard. What was it about employment? I guess you were saying that's kind of an area that you specialized in. Other than having some cases that you worked in it and that it just became something you were familiar with, was there anything else regarding the employment, specialization that really attracted you to sticking in that lane?
Yeah, you know what? I think I had always been interested and liked the people element of service as an attorney. And before I went to law school, I was actually a compensation consultant in Boston. And so that had an HR component to it as far as wages and the like. And the issues surrounding employment compliance and advising, whether it be on Title VII, disability, how to handle a family and medical leave absence question, questions surrounding hiring policies, retention policies, maybe a thorny separation of employment. Those types of issues are very much grounded in relationships. And I have always had a view of my practice, and I think our firm had been very good at this, in providing pragmatic advice and focusing on posturing our clients in a way to minimize exposure and risk. And, if those things did not work out, or if the client was sued, providing defense to any sort of claims or charges, whether it be wage and hour or retaliation claims, the whole gamut. But ultimately, because I am very much focused on understanding the client's business and what their aims are, and we very much partner in that respect, I wanted to be able to provide service in the sense of based on my experience, this is where I see things going. Or if you are sued in this case, here's what we can expect to happen. And so kind of providing a panoramic view of what might come at different stages of a dispute.
Sure.
And seeing where the client wanted to approach the dispute as far as their appetite for risk, or their appetite for litigation.
Yeah.
And so I very much enjoy that aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to hear you describe it also with relationships being at the center of it. And it got me thinking while you were saying that, the amount of, I was going to say human interaction, but the amount of work you have to do besides just the aspect of understanding the law and what you in your profession, the amount of work you do just dealing with people all the time.
Yeah.
What have you learned about people and how to work best with people? What advice would you have for us on, negotiations and handling meetings? I mean, it's kind of a broad question again, but just, your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that question. I think the approach, and I would say that most folks who are listening to this podcast, whether you're a student, in any job that you're in, if you're an adult and you're listening, we just have to be prepared. And preparation is so key. So, you review documents, you talk to people. So you're headed into a court argument, and you have spent hours digesting, synthesizing, playing out these arguments, articulating how you want to present it. All of that's prep work. And so it would be like if you had a stage play, right? And you got rehearsal, and then you're on stage. I would say that preparation is so key in anything that you do, whether it's having that first client call and making an impression, or advising a client, gathering the necessary facts so that you can advise correctly, making sure that you understand what the concerns are from the standpoint of the client. When dealing with an adversary or negotiating with an adversary, again, it's preparing points and anticipating what might happen in a situation. So I tell my boys all the time, you got a big game, okay? You got a big game coming up this weekend. This team is big, fast, aggressive, and very technically skilled. What are you going to do to get ready for that? And it's all prep work, because come game time, you better know what you're going to do.
Right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, amen to that. That's the truth. I think one of my favorite sayings that just rings in my head all the time is proper preparation prevents poor performance.
I don't think I can actually repeat what you just said. That was beautiful.
I've said it so many times in my head because I heard it once. I was reading a book, and the whole chapter was on that exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's just hammering in on the proper preparation prevents the poor performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, with soccer, with your boys or anything else, the workplace, the more and more that I really like to use the word anticipation.
Yeah.
The more you can really just focus in on what is it that you want to go in to meet about, prepare based on an accumulation of all your experiences, you can probably anticipate a lot of either the questions or topics that are going to come up.
Sure.
And the more you can rehearse those in your head, the better prepared you will be for that interaction. So I loved how you took this question about relationships and people to go back on what you can do to best be prepared for handling an opportunity to have the conversation, whatever it may be.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You got to know your stuff. You got to know your facts.
That's right. We're talking about being professional, right? You know, as we start the podcast off, we're talking about what makes prep the standard of excellence. Right. And that's what we do, in our professional career as well, as we're pursuing excellence. And part of that is being properly prepared for whatever it may be.
Yeah, and I would say that Villa, helped to create a great foundation for that. The rigorous academic expectations and the schedules, the assignments, the sort of like the embedding of the curiosity. The wanting to learn and, what it's going to take to get and achieve that goal. I think that was so foundational to who I am and what I wanted to be. And there are so many great role models at Prep and Villa, just from my brother's own experience as well, that it really was a core part of who I am.
Yeah, that's amazing. And one of the other things that I'm really sensing from you is leadership, too. I think a lot of what you seem to be is a great leader as well in regards to how you are directing clients, how you are directing, your team, different components of that. What do you think makes a great leader when it comes to high-pressure situations like you've been involved in? You mentioned sometimes staying at the office overnight, for cases that you're working on. But what do you think are some key components to being a great leader?
I think the first key component is listening. Listening to your team, listening to your client, truly understanding what their concerns are, what motivates them. I think that's so much more important than any other aspect of leadership, because if you do not understand and you do not listen, truly listen to what your constituents want, what their concerns are, why something isn't landing the way that they had hoped a specific issue or matter would land with them. I think really it all starts with gathering that information and truly listening. So I think in order to be a great leader, you have to be in a position to listen. And some of that feedback that you get, you may not like, right? But I think it makes you a great leader if you can truly understand how people are feeling, what they're going through, and see if you can help. Yeah. It's all about helping and providing service, just really aligned with what the actual concerns are.
Yeah. Servant leadership, right? Yep. I know that's like one of the core components of a lot of great leadership philosophy books is being a servant-hearted person. And you can really hear that through, of course, with, as you described it earlier in the episode, with your service to your clients, and even in that answer there, just a great testament to that.
Yeah.
And I think, somebody like myself, I get pretty easily excitable about ideas or projects or concepts, and I think that's an area I've had to challenge myself in with my leadership skills, is slowing down, asking for feedback, talking with the team through the different dynamics. And even though I may be really excited about something, is right now the best time to do this project?
Right.
Will other people receive it well? Is this not as great of a thing as I may think it is? And I think early on in my career, I would take it and run with it, but through the years, I've learned to grow a little bit more wiser and a little bit more attentive to what others may say about certain projects. So yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying, and something I've seen firsthand too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just think that it's so important to understand how you can lead, and you can't do that unless you understand your audience and the people you're serving.
Yep. Having kids helps too.
Oh yeah, oh, for sure.
Someone's crying in the corner about something. You just want them to get up and go shower, get ready for bed, and you realize, their brother did something, mischievous to them, and that's why they're crying. But if I didn't go over and listen, then my daughter, who's 5, crying about the older brother, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah. Wait till they get to middle school, because my 14 and 12-year-old boys, they're all about giving me feedback on my parenting. Yeah. They provide a lot of feedback. It's very humbling, actually.
Oh, I can't wait for those years.
They're fun. Wow, they go like 0 to 100 very quickly.
Oh, that's so funny. I got just a couple more questions for you as we wind down on this episode. It's been so great to really hear the story and the heart of, what it sounds like your essence is, and how you do your work. When you look back on your career, and this is someday in the future when you look back on your career, what do you hope that your leadership, your professional legacy will be that you leave behind?
When I look back on my career, my professional legacy, I really hope that the people that I work with, my coworkers, everyone from, the president of the firm to the folks that support us in the mailroom, said that they enjoyed working with me and that I was helpful, or that I made them feel appreciated. I think that's so important. Life goes very fast. I can't believe I've been doing this for 25 years. I really can't, because it went by very quickly. And so I would say, 10 to 15 years out from now, I have so many funny memories from work. The things that I remember are not the things that I didn't like. It's the people.
Yeah.
It's the funny moments, the hilarious things that happened at work with the people that I worked with, or something that happened in trial that was like just really fantastic. I remember preparing for, I think, like the final day of a big trial, and being on the floor of a really terrible hotel room, because like all the hotels we weren't anticipating having to go the extra day, and the hotel room like smelled like cigarettes, and there were cigarette burns in the comforter, and I'm on the linoleum floor mapping out like what we need to do to present an argument with my team, and thinking like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I doing this? Why am I still doing this? But we had some laughs,
Yeah.
Like it was hard, it was challenging, it was stressful, but the things that I remember now, and the things that I would love for people to remember about me, is that they enjoyed working with me.
Yeah.
It's the stuff life's made of, right?
Yeah. Such a great answer too. It's about character, right? It's about the core values, you know, like we talked about earlier. You know, those things that people can define, necessarily cases won, cases lost. But it's great to hear you say that's not really what you want to necessarily be remembered by. Is that it's more so the people that you were able to impact and leave a positive impression on.
Yeah, I would hate for anybody to have worked with me and said she was unpleasant, or she didn't provide a lot of direction, or she was a horrible boss. Like, I want to make an impression that positively influences the young people that I work with, but also positively influences the workplace generally, because I think that's so important, is to really enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And to enjoy the people that you're with, because you spend like 70% of your day at work.
Right.
And so if you don't like it, or you don't find joy in it, sometimes, I mean, it is after all a job, so you're not going to love it every day, but if you don't really enjoy the people you're around and you're spending your time with, then it's time to, check in with yourself, like I said, and ask yourself whether you're growing and you're doing what you want to be doing.
Yeah. Yep. That constant evaluation, like you were talking about earlier too. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I got one final question for you. It's a fun one. I call it my bonus question because I ask every alum at the end of the episode this question.
Okay, Jimmy, I'm ready.
So if you could go back in time and speak at your Villa graduation to your Villa sisters, knowing what you know now, though, what message would you give your classmates at that time?
I would just give my classmates the message that whatever you decide to do, whoever that you decide you think you are, you're going to be, that you really need to appreciate yourself as a person and those around you as much as you can, because they're not always going to be there. And life goes fast. I don't know if you saw that Ferris Bueller movie.
Yep, I've seen it.
Life does go fast, and you could miss it very easily while we're focused on the things that we think we need to be ultra serious about and focused about. Is don't take yourself seriously, enjoy the ride, but certainly take your vacations, see your parents, and remember that this is all going to go very quickly. So that would be my message.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's very crucial to be able to understand what we do for our work is important. As you just said, 70% of our time is spent at work, and you want to be able to enjoy it. But also beyond that, understanding family is important. You as a person are important. Appreciate yourself and the things that are going on around you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's the most important. You can't get time back.
Yeah, amen to that.
And I'm somebody who, organizes my time in, 6-minute increments, right?
You have to.
You have to, right?
With the level of work that I'm sure you're dealing with on a daily basis, but then also, as we were reading, the videographer and the highlight reel guru for the soccer team.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I spend hours putting together highlight reels. I cut out all the bad stuff.
Of course.
And put in all the, that was like a really good slide tackle.
Yeah.
Or, you turned that ball quickly, or you beat an attacker down the field to get that ball, or you made a great save, or that was a banger and, top bins. Like, I get all the great moments, and I hope my boys remember that even though I worked a lot, that I was always present in the moment for them whenever they needed me.
Right.
And that's one thing, like, you can't get time back. So appreciate your parents, your kids, while you're going out and conquering the world, you can't get time back.
Very well said. And I think that is a great spot to be able to wrap up the podcast with, because I think it's a great message to leave everybody with. And how great it is that you came in from Pittsburgh to come meet with me, to do the tour of the school and be able to do this podcast episode. I just want to say I really, truly appreciate you doing that, and thank you.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks for carrying the podcast. I was a little nervous, I don't know if people are going to get bored just listening, but you're actually super. You could be like the next Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. I don't know about that part, but I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah, no, you made this super easy. Thanks for feeding me all the responses too.
That's right. You're welcome. No, but seriously, no, just kidding. But seriously, it was really great, and I just want to say thank you so much for the time, and I'm excited for everybody to get this episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.